Hello. Happy Saturday. It's Saturday Night Live with Ellen and Tricia.
For a little while longer.
Yes, we have 2 more weeks and then we're actually moving to Monday nights, which will be fun. We have a little lineup with Beard the Parade and Conspiracy Therapist, so that'll be really cool.
Yeah, we just made the announcement, by the way. Did everybody get that?
Yeah, right. Yeah, everybody. But yeah, so that'll be fantastic. Well, we have 1 hour tonight to talk to a gentleman actually that was on our other live show, The View of Truth, and it was a shorter segment. And he's doing something I believe in my heart. Hal Cranmer is doing something in Arizona. I believe in my heart is what is going to be more mainstream in the future for elderly people. I really hope and pray that's the direction, but he is at the forefront of it and he is doing such miraculous things, and I admire what he's doing so much for the care that he's giving to the folks that are living in his assisted living homes. And I just asked him if he would come on again so we could talk again, because I just think he's doing such great stuff. So I'm going to bring on Hal. Hi, Hal. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Ellen. Great to see you, Trish.
Thank
It's great
you,
to be back.
Yeah.
Yes, thanks for letting us horn in on your Saturday night. But I know that when I watched you on The View with Ellen, I was just really blown away that somebody was actually doing something that seemed like a very not easy solution, but logical, rational, a combination of some of the different things that we've been hearing about out there, and that somebody was actually putting a program together and somebody really cared. And the other thing that really resonated with me was what you're doing is not this is the last place you go. You are actually trying to bring people in and get them better to the point sometimes they can go back home. They don't necessarily have to continue a path of decline. And to me, that was like music to my ears. It gives people hope. And I just love that. And I was so glad when you agreed to join us. So thank you.
Well, we're only blessed with one life, and every day is precious. So why not fight for every day? Why not you don't want to just take the last decade and go, well, I guess this is my life now, and just got to wait for the end. We all have to wait for the end, but it doesn't mean you can't go down fighting.
Yeah, yes, and enjoying yourself and living the last bit of your life with joy and love. So I wanted just to play this little video that's pinned to your X account, because I just thought it just gave a nice overview of basically what you do.
Okay, great.
I own 4 assisted living homes around Phoenix, Arizona, where I have at least 10 people in each one, and we do our best to make them as healthy as possible. This is something that's sustainable. They can see a path to a better life. They don't have to spend the last decade of their life in a bed or a wheelchair or on a lot of medications that they can't move away from.
Julie, what town are we in right now?
Surprise, Arizona.
Even until 2 years ago, the American Diabetes Association said that diabetes is a chronic progressive disease. It's incurable. Once you have it, that's it. But it's because they never manage it correctly, right? And dementia is the same thing. They go, it's chronic and progressive, nothing we can do. But now we're arguing, yes, there's stuff we can do now, and Hal's proving that.
When I got here, I was on hospice, and I began to eat properly
I love that guy.
and sufficiently. And they cut out all my ice cream and all of my sugar. And I just kept getting better and better.
One of the exciting things about all this is that her cognitive test has really improved. We're plugging holes in the boat, so to speak, trying to figure out what we can do to improve her physiology and help her have better outcomes.
When somebody goes home and they came in on a walker or a wheelchair, and all of a sudden they're walking, they're home, they're in their own apartment, they're taking care of themselves, what peace would you have for your family member?
It's just the greatest feeling in the world when you see someone improve their health when they didn't think there was anything they could do. When their family sees them and sees the difference in them, there's no greater feeling in the world that you're helping someone else out, especially when they didn't have hope and now they have hope.
Yay. I mean,
I'm a very thin Santa.
Yeah. Yeah. But I love that. I love that so much because it really gives just a few minutes, just kind of this flavor and the start of what you do. So just tell us, so people don't have any idea. First of all, the website is a paradiseforparents.com.
Yep.
And tell us really about the places you created.
Okay, so the video set I own 4 assisted living homes. I actually sold one of them. I have some grandkids now, and I'm trying to cut back a little and spend more time with them, less time with the elderly folks. But I'm still very passionate about this, and I have parents of my own that have great grandkids now, and I want my parents to see them get married someday. So so I have 3 residential homes that we've turned into assisted living homes. They have all the ADA compliant bathrooms and, all the accommodations to help elderly people or people with disabilities. And each home can fit about 10 residents that we're licensed for 10. We don't take any more than that in each one. And we have at least 2 caregivers there during the day, a lot of times 3, because we have a manager of each home that responsible for the paperwork and making sure the home runs well, and will be a caregiver from time to time as well. We have personal trainers that exercise the residents 4 to 5 days a week. And then we have a bunch of people who come in and do activities, from volunteers to dance instructors to musicians. And then we also have the regular medical staff. We have a doctor service that comes in and sees the residents at least once a month, more often if needed. We have a nurse that comes in, sets up their service plans. We have, these days you can get almost everything delivered. So we can get the medications delivered, we can get lab tests done, we can get x-rays done in the home. We have a dental service that comes in an RV and has a dental chair in the back of the RV, so they just come out of the home and get a dentist appointment. So we want, when someone comes to take the resident out of the home, we want it to be their family to go do something fun, not to just go to endless medical appointments. Specialists, we have to take them to those appointments. They don't have a mobile neurologist, but that's about the only medical treatments. Obviously, if they have to go to the hospital or surgery or something like that, we'll have to send them. But generally, we try to keep all of that going on in the home, and then we have the families hopefully take them out to go do fun things. We feed them a very low carb ketogenic diet. The film show you we try to cut out all their sugar. And we have a nutritionist or health coach that trains our cooks. And our cooks even have had some success stories because they said, I should probably eat this way too. And we've seen big weight loss. We've seen people getting off medications, even with the cooks. Lots of good things happening. And that gives people a better quality of life. So even if they don't move back home, when their friends, family come over, they can go out and do stuff with them, or at least enjoy their company a whole lot more than just thinking about their ailments.
Yeah. And I really feel like this was the true way that that our seniors are supposed to be treated in smaller group environments. I think that th these systems of these giant assisted living places are just fraught with, you know, inactivity. People aren't held accountable. I know a gentleman who was well-to-do, and he committed a felony. He ran a whole bunch of these and was misusing with the healthcare fraud. So there's just all kinds of reasons why the big people want to have these big facilities, but they don't. It's not the best interest of the people staying there, as far as I'm concerned, having these huge places. What you're doing is so much more intimate. It's 10 people, and they get the attention and the love that they deserve and that they need. And it just makes so much sense to me. Um, and you're doing it, and it's showing. And I just think it's fantastic. Um,
Thank
one
you.
one of the things that I want to focus on this evening is dementia, is Alzheimer's. There's many reasons, obviously, that keeps increasing, 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 just like all these other problems we have. But you in on your X account too, you quote studies that have been done that basically um, studies show that you're 4 times more likely to have dementia if you have type 2 diabetes. Studies
Hmm.
done. So tell me the approaches that you've been taking to try to help people with this.
Okay, I sort of got into it because I followed a neurologist named Dr. Dale Bredesen, who's done some amazing pioneering work on Alzheimer's and dementia. Um, and he saw that dementia is not a single insult to your body or brain. It's a combination of a lot of different factors. And that's why it's very difficult to come up with a pill that's going to turn Alzheimer's around, because a pill's going to work on one facet of the problem. And he equates it to a leaky roof. If you have a whole bunch of holes in your roof and water's coming in all over the place, patching one hole is not going to fix the roof, is not going to solve
Right.
your problem, right? And he's identified about 36 different factors. I've seen as much as 200 different factors that contribute to Alzheimer's disease. And um, you're to even have a trial to figure out a pill that would cover all those is insane. So
Yeah.
what you have to do is kind of, and you don't have to have all these factors going wrong. You could have 4 of them, or you could have 23 of them wrong, out of whack, and it contributes to this problem. So the idea is to try to optimize as many factors of these as you can. If you can heal your body and get your body in the best shape, it can support your brain. And there's lots of studies in the field of neuroplasticity, which shows that nerve endings and connections in your brain can be regrown. They've seen, going through Dr. Bredesen's protocol and everything, that the hippocampus, that's the memory center of your brain, it shrinks in Alzheimer's people. It actually will grow if you get your body in really, really good shape. So my goal is to get the physical body in as good shape as it can, and then the body kind of helps heal the brain as well as it can. You can't take your brain to the gym, and work it out to get it stronger. You just, but you can work your body to get it stronger, and that can support the brain. And we do have a wonderful program that does kind of give the brain a workout. It's a nonprofit that has done a ton of research on improving people with PTSD, depression, anxiety, even dementia. So they did a similar program for kids with all kinds of learning disabilities. My son had a learning disability, And they took him from the 20th percentile in reading to the 97th percentile when he was about 8 or 9 years old. And so I'm completely sold on this program. And we're seeing people get better. It's a one-on-one therapy session 3 times a week for an hour at a time on a laptop on Zoom. And the therapist is constantly showing them cards, giving them scenarios, asking them problems to solve, things like that, to make their brain really work. And the preliminary tests, after we've done it for 12 weeks at a time or so, you see improvements in their scores from doing that. You see improvements in their cognitive scores. But to support that, we do a bunch of other therapies. Your statistic about type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's has been also called type 3 diabetes. And a lot of it is inflammation, insulin resistance in the brain, where the brain can't get the glucose to go into the nerve cells to fuel them. Your brain requires a ton of energy to run. And because of the insulin resistance, it can't get that energy. And so it starts gradually dying. On the other hand, if you can switch to an alternate fuel like ketones, that bypasses all this insulin resistance problem and can fuel the brain and give it energy both to heal and to operate. So that's what Dale Bredesen recommends, a low-carb ketogenic diet. And I want to say I don't follow the Bredesen protocol. They have a company and there's licensing and all that. So we don't do that, but I'm inspired by him. I think what he does is fantastic. I highly recommend people with this disease investigate it. But we are sort of taking a lot of good stuff from that Bredesen protocol and doing our own thing. And I'm sort of, hate to say it, but experimenting a little and seeing what works and what doesn't.
Yeah. And what's the nonprofit program that uses Zoom and
Yeah,
brain?
it's called the Cognitive Functional Development Institute, and I think it's cfdinstitute.com. It's the website. I may have that wrong, but if you look up CFD Institute on Google, you'll find it. They're
Okay.
located actually in Prescott, Arizona, just about 90 miles north of us, but 90 miles is very impractical for therapists to drive
Yeah.
down to us and us to drive up to them. So we do everything on Zoom. But yeah, we see some great changes with that, as they do with their private clients too. So if you have someone with PTSD or depression or something like that, I highly recommend this program.
Yeah.
Say
And
that
will you
again.
say
The
the
cognitive
full name?
Functional Development Institute.
development. Okay.
Yep, CFDI.
And so have any residents of yours, Hal, have you seen cognitive improvement in them?
Oh yeah. I have one. I have two that have actually moved back home, that got well enough that they no longer needed us anymore. One lives in her own apartment in Seattle, doing great. We text each other all the time, and she's in her mid-70s or so, and living her best life, kind of thing. I don't notice any differences in her memory. And then the other one was a gentleman who was a very good engineer, entrepreneur. He came to us. We did a whole bunch of stuff with him. He's moved back home with his wife in West Virginia, and she sends me pictures of him installing a ceiling fan on the back porch, or operating one of those big Bobcat construction equipment, clearing snow from his driveway. She's like, I got my husband back. So, and when he came
Wow.
to us, he had no idea why he was there. He's like, what is this building? And she'd been telling him like for a month beforehand, like, here, we're going to this and we're going to get therapy for you and all this. And he had no idea. So, and then one other success story that wasn't in my homes necessarily, but they reached out to me, said they listened to a bunch of podcasts I was on. So you're doing great stuff. And the guy's wife got diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's at age 58. He said, we just did what you talked about in your podcast. And I went out and saw them. She's 61, 62 maybe now. And I spent 5 or 6 hours with them, and I didn't notice she forgot anything during that time. So she's been diagnosed for 4 years, 3 to 4 years, and she's same as as she was when she was younger. In fact, he called me the other day and said, I know I got my wife back because I lost my keys and she told me where they were. Which is
See,
why I
Ellen,
have to laugh because my wife tells me that all the time too.
we could be helping, Ellen. We could be helping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as you're talking, these are basically things we can be doing now
Right.
so that we don't
Oh
have to
yeah.
get that far. And I want to go over the things that the residents do, your list of things
Sure.
that you have listed, starting with daily sunlight.
Okay. Yeah. So let me just say as a broad brush, I'm thoroughly convinced from doing this that Alzheimer's is preventable. Like once you have it and you're way into it, it's very difficult to come back from. But if you do it now or you do it right as you get your diagnosis, you have a really good shot at either reversing it or avoiding it completely. Because it starts in your 30s and 40s. You just don't see the symptoms until your 60s, 70s, 80s, that kind of thing. Or 50s these days. People are getting it a lot. So as we discuss this, I want everyone to keep in mind this is the number one disease, that prevention is everything. So
Yes.
yeah, let's talk about daily sunlight. One of the big problems with Alzheimer's, and you'll hear this from people who care for Alzheimer's people, is their circadian rhythm gets really messed up. So they get a condition called sundowners, where about 7, 8, 9 at night, when you want them to be going to bed, they're revving up and they're getting very active because they don't know what time zone they're in. And they get agitated, they get anxious, they don't want to go to bed, and you as a caregiver have been caregiving for them all day and you want to go to bed, and it's just brutal on people. So what we try to do is when they get up in the morning, try to get them outside, usually in the backyard. We'll take, or possibly a walk in the neighborhood in the front. We have some parks near the houses, so we take them to walk in the parks. There's some walking trails, things like that. But just get them out in the sun. That resets their circadian rhythm. They go from, sleeping to bright sunlight. It says this is the time to get up. And we see great decreases in sundowning. It's a lot easier to put everyone to bed at night. My caregivers are not up all night with them, and that whole vitamin D, fresh air. When there was COVID, we made sure that the residents spent half an hour, 45 minutes out in the sun every day. At first we separated them all, did the social distancing. We had a row of chairs all in the backyard, 6 feet apart or so. Then we started realizing that social distancing was a bunch of crap. So they then put them around the table and they could, talk to each other and stay out, because fresh air is a natural disinfectant too. So not only the
Of
sun with the
course.
vitamin D, but you're getting the disinfectant. And we didn't lose a single person to COVID during COVID. And we had one home that didn't lose a single person for any reason during the first 2 years of COVID, which kind of for nursing homes unheard of during that time. So, getting out in the sun is hugely beneficial. And it's not just for Alzheimer's, it's for colds, flus, just your body, your circadian rhythm. It helps you sleep better at night if you get the sun in the morning. There's just all kinds of good reasons to go do it.
Oh my gosh. Isn't that the truth? I mean, I think back, being out in the sun is just so, so important. It's that sun, that energy, everything is here for a reason, and it's for us and for everything to sustain life, basically.
And the dermatology profession has really demonized the sun. And I see it even with my Alzheimer's people. When you bring them out, they want to be completely covered up with a hat and sunglasses and everything, and we try to convince them, you want to take all that off. We're not naked, but we t-shirts and shorts and things like that. We're not going to get them the sunburn, but we're going to get them some. And if you really look through the literature, the really bad skin cancers and stuff happen often on areas that don't get much sun.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily that the sun's killing you with cancer. And there's studies showing that people who work outside have less skin cancer than people who work in an office. So
Yeah.
You know,
Yes,
if you do it in moderation, but you get out there,
course.
especially early in the morning, it's incredibly beneficial. There used to be clinics that
Yes.
people would go to lay out in the sun, and it like for conditions like tuberculosis, like not just to make them look healthier, like actually to improve chronic conditions they had and
Did
diseases.
Yeah, didn't we
Yes.
learn too that, earlier, hospitals actually had like a sunroom floor or something where they would take the patients
Yes, and
up,
put
up
them
at the,
out in the sun. Yeah.
yes.
In fact, during the Spanish flu, the pandemic 100 years ago, or I guess probably like 110 years ago now, the hospitals were so overcrowded that they had to put people out in the field behind the hospital, and the people in the field died at a whole lot less rate than the people that were in the hospital.
Yes. I mean, can you imagine that we just went through a pandemic where they literally told everyone to go inside and shut
Oh,
your doors and stay. I mean,
yeah.
that the deception and the evil there was just whoo, that was just off the charts. Um, I want
I'm
to take
very
a
thankful for that pandemic because it fueled my passion to make
side.
these people better, is to prove that regular medical advice is not always right.
Exactly. I think it fueled a lot of us, woo, to
Yeah.
really dig into a lot of rabbit holes, that's for sure. Um,
Hmm.
I want to take a side note because our moderator, Hair Therapy, we've had on a gentleman who uh, puts actually I have a book, World Without Cancer, the story of B17, vitamin B17, and about apricot seeds. Do you give your do patients know about apricot seeds or the B17
I've
vitamin?
definitely heard of it. We don't get many people with cancer just because cancer is a disease that people take care of at home. Like they don't need 24/7 care. They can kind of take care of themselves even though they're in a lot of pain and suffering. So you don't someone may have cancer and Alzheimer's, and then they come to our home, but it's usually rare that we have cancer. So I
Mhm.
haven't delved. I've read a lot about it, but
Yeah.
I haven't. And it sounds very promising, but we just
Yeah.
don't get people with cancer conditions very often.
Yeah, and that's something we can talk about some other time, but it really is amazing that in nature, that we have the seeds in that you take, and it knocks out the any cancer cells, and it does amazing things. So I know, and hair therapy really, she's like me. We're very like-minded, really believes in that and understands the um how important that is. So I just want to throw that in as a side note. So yeah, so daily sunlight is it's just so important. It really, really is. And then the next thing you mentioned, but the next thing on your list is the brain training, and that's what you talked about with that organization.
Yep. Yeah, well, I mean, we're constantly trying to do brain training. I would highly recommend everyone try to, do something to challenge your brain. We kind of get out of college or high school and we just sort of stop learning. And
Mhm.
that's a shame because it's really going to help you later in life if you just are always curious and always want to learn. And besides that formal brain training we do a bunch of other stuff. Like we ask the families for 12 pictures of the resident doing stuff with their family. And then we go to the Shutterfly or some picture website and have those memory card games made with
Yeah.
24 cards where you have the pairs. So then we play memory, with them, and they flip over the cards and try to find the matches and the pairs. We bought like elementary school, junior high math textbooks and have them do math problems. We've had
Oh,
them we've had them just write out Bible verses because handwriting is very stimulative to the brain. Typing on a computer keyboard is not. So unfortunately, we're losing that art. So we just find a Bible verse they like and have them just handwrite it out. I mean, it could be anything, but I'm kind of into Jesus, so
We
I
are
try to
yes.
too.
encourage as much as I can.
Here too.
Um, so, you know,
Yeah.
always looking for reasons. All
She
right,
has a
bless you. Awesome. Very
baby
cool.
Jesus, little
Yeah.
Jesus.
So, anything we can do to stimulate the brain. I've tried to do some musical instruments. That's been a little tougher. And lately, we've been trying to do dance lessons with our residents so that they can, they have to think about what's my next step, and then the brain has to coordinate their body to do that next step. So that's enormously beneficial for the brain. So you don't want to just sit them in front of the TV. You want them to actively be challenging the brain just as much as challenging the body.
Yeah, and I want to touch on that, but I want to go back to the writing because, I hear that all the time. Kathy O'Brien, she's well known. She's survived MK Ultra brainwashing and
Oh, wow.
trafficking, but she said when I interviewed her, they purposefully have stopped teaching children writing skills because the connection that you have from the brain to writing, there's nothing better than that. And it's healing,
Healing.
very healing to use that. And so to your point, that's a fantastic thing for them to do. And then also to handwrite something meaningful verses in the Bible. My goodness, that's a win-win, all the way
Oh,
around.
yeah.
Um, so I hopefully as things progress here, the children, will get back to those basic things that with the writing and the cursive and all of that, because it's so important. And then to the dancing, I want to hear about what you're doing now with the dancing. But we're as humans, we're creative humans. Humans are creative by nature, and we want to do things. We want to be creative and use the body that we have to 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 use creativity and create things, and we just aren't doing it. And elderly people are sat in a corner and put in front of a TV, and that's
Mhm.
just, it's such a shame. So
Right.
so great to hear the things you're doing. Tell us about the new dance thing you're trying.
Yeah, so we've hired a dance instructor, and she's been really good. Her goal is to try to get our residents to act out the Michael Jackson's Thriller video. We'll
Yeah.
see how close we come to that. My ultimate goal would be to have like a flash mob of elderly people at a local
Like,
mall, but
so
we'll see how
cool.
that goes. But just even getting through the motions. I mean, they love to just get up and dance. It feels really good. It's not,
Yeah.
like I have a personal trainer that comes in and exercises them, and they, my joints hurt. I don't want to do it today. Do we have to, kind of thing. But dancing, they're like, turn up the music. Let's go.
Yes. OMG. Because, oh my gosh, because if you combine music, and music is so meaningful too.
Oh,
That
it is.
healing is healing as well. And so if you
Yeah.
combine music and dancing, oh my goodness, there's nothing
Mhm.
better.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing even with Alzheimer's and dementia how people can remember song lyrics,
Yeah.
especially from their younger days. They tell us,
Yes.
between their ages of 15 and 30, whatever is popular then, you play those songs and you see people who have aphasia, that can't really talk with the Alzheimer's, suddenly break out in song, and you're like,
Yeah.
whoa, that's wild.
It's miraculous, the
Yeah.
power of music. And that's why if it can bring joy to people just like us, just think of what it is doing for the people with dementia. And I have to just tell this one story I've told before, but it just is such a powerful thing, and it got me so hooked on the power of music. That I had a performing arts academy, and I took a troupe of students and we performed at a hospital that was for sick children who pretty much lived there. They needed 24-hour care and had no verbalization. Were in wheelchairs, and but we went in there and did some songs from Annie the musical, and belted
Oh,
out these
great.
songs, belted out these songs, and these kids were lined up watching, and they started communicating. They
Hmm.
started verbalizing their joy of
Wow.
watching them. And I looked and I couldn't believe it. And we all just cried afterwards because of the joy of just that brought to them. And they and to see them verbalize and to use their bodies and to kind of dance along with us in their wheelchairs. um and we're going to find out so much more depending on the megahertz and the frequencies and all those things. It can do cellular healing as well. It's just you
Hmm.
can tell this is my area where I'm like, God, I really want to talk about it. Um,
Right.
so I anyway, I could just go on forever about it. But let's talk to the next thing, because this is important too, is strength training that you're providing them.
Yeah. So, couple things about strength training. We have personal trainers that come in 4 to 5 days a week that exercise the residents, and it could be some walking, could be sometimes they just do karaoke with them, but get them active. But a lot of it is strength training. And as we get older, there's a condition called sarcopenia that affects all of us, that your muscles just start wasting away. And it accelerates the older you get. I mean, if you look at Arnold Schwarzenegger now, he's not what he looked
Mm.
like in his 20s by any means, right?
Right.
So, the other thing about muscles is muscles are the greatest sink for glucose in your body. Okay, the muscles will uptake the glucose much better than any other cells. And a muscular person can eat a whole lot more carbohydrates and sugars and not see their blood sugar spike nearly as much as, say, a very thin person or a very obese person that doesn't have much muscle. So, um, the
I did not
more
know that.
muscles you can build, the more insulin sensitive your body will be. And because that's such a big contributor to dementia and Alzheimer's, the more you work out, the better your condition's probably going to get. As well as, motor diseases like Parkinson's. Working out with muscles and stuff can greatly reduce the symptoms of it. There's Parkinson's boxing gyms springing up all over the country because they found the action of boxing actually reduces tremors and stiffness and the motor problems that Parkinson's delivers. So the more you can exercise and more you can do the muscles, the healthier you're going to be and the easier you're going to be able to fight these neurodegenerative problems.
Wow, that's fantastic. I mean, because you're hitting all of these things, and which is just
Yeah,
so
I'm trying to
incredibly
throw the kitchen
wonderful.
sink. We don't have much
Y-
time, so it's
Yeah,
like we can't just
yeah.
do
But
single it point
but
interventions.
yeah, but what you're doing is what we all should be doing all the time, but we just can't because
Yeah, this
we've
isn't
been so
rocket
busy.
science.
No, but we've been put into this mode of being, we're just so busy and having to worry about dealing with everyday stuff. We don't do this for ourselves, which is the most important thing.
Well,
Talk about talk.
I saw a statistic that said the cost of Alzheimer's to a family over a lifetime per person is about $350,000. So all those things you're doing, going out and making money, providing for people, yourself, you're going to waste it all away if you don't take care of yourself, because
How
it's all going to go to me or some other assisted living place.
a very dear friend of mine, whose father went into a memory care, was paying $8,000 a month.
Yeah, so what's that? Almost $100,000 a year,
And
right?
he was in there for just under 3 years. So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen there's people who are in these places for 5, 10 years.
Yeah.
That eats up a big chunk of all that you worked for in life. If you do prioritize this, my dad's 88, my mom's 86, and they're still living at home, doing great. So,
Yeah.
think of how much we've saved. And my grandmother died of Alzheimer's, and my mom is sharp as a tack, her daughter. And, they get annoyed because I bug them about what they eat all the time. Are they
Hmm.
exercising? But they are doing
Yeah.
it, and it's
Well,
working.
and just to add to what your facility is doing versus the others, because when my mom fell and had to go into a rehab. The rehab center was rehab on one side and assisted living on the other. And her and I both got a very big, look at what that looks like, and it scared us both.
Yeah.
But when I observed when she was in the hospital and then when she was in the rehab, the food that they were giving her, I was appalled. And I wanted, I think other people must wrestle with it too. It's like, oh, they're old, they're happy, let them have their ice cream, right?
Right.
Now that we know that this is reversible,
Right.
we don't have to feel so guilty about trying to help them do better. And it's the old, well, they've been doing this for years, or they're in their old ways, or just let them have it. I mean, I think that seems like something that it's an easy thing to wrestle with.
Well, I mean, even people on hospice, we've taken people who come to us on hospice and we get them off hospice. Like, they get well enough that the hospice people are like, well, they no longer qualify for hospice. I had one hospice lady tell me, I'm not bringing any more people to your place because you take them off our service. We got to get paid here. And, she's joking. She's happy that we do it. But that was one of the best compliments I've ever had. And, it's never too late. And even if you are on hospice, and we're all going to be on hospice someday, you still can have a better quality of life for the time you got left. I had a 98-year-old gentleman, and he went on a cruise with his family. Like, he was well enough that he could go on a cruise. We lent them a caregiver. They paid for her cruise, and she kind of made sure he was okay. But he came back, and he was the happiest man in the world, at 98. And 6 months later, he died one morning sitting in a recliner right after breakfast, and the day before he was exercising with our trainer. So, that's the way we want everyone to go is, the day before you die, you had a normal day, you went to sleep and didn't wake up, or you just suddenly, had a little cough and it was over, or whatever. But it should be quick, and it should, up until that point, you should be enjoying life as much as possible.
Yeah, I mean, just the sugar and the corn syrup alone.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? My health coach is extremely good at making food and recipes that are normal food, that are tacos, that are Mexican casserole, that is lasagna, that are pancakes. She just changes the ingredients, and it still tastes good to our residents. When she started, the residents actually told us the cooking has improved, and using her recipes, and yet their carb intake, their sugar intake's gone way down. So it's, we don't have to like, hey, you're going to eat sardines for the rest of your life. We can make it work.
Yeah.
You just do it differently. You don't have to, just say, well, you need to suffer, because that's when they go, well, they're 85, be nice to them, kind of thing.
Right.
Well, I am being nice to them, but I'm also trying, it's a lot nicer when you're not in pain, or when you can remember your family. Things are a lot better that way.
You don't have all the inflammation. And
exactly. They say someone who's sick, someone who's healthy thinks about 1,000 things. Someone who's sick thinks about one thing.
Exactly. That's exactly true. And the diet,
think about 1,000 things.
Yeah, exactly. And the diet is so important. And these other facilities that you were talking about, Tricia, and I remember when my mom was there is alternative ways that they can be eating. And they don't have to give them the sugar. There's so many other things now.
Right.
And
and
the
they're
soda
fine
pop.
with it.
Like,
I don't have people like, oh, this is awful. Like, I can't live like this. They don't say that.
Right.
The fruit juices and the Coca-Colas that she had access to is like unlimited.
Oh, every time we send someone to the hospital, and I go visit them a lot, and there's a Pepsi sitting right next to them, and it drives me up the wall.
Yeah. And then we just for another example, in the hospitals, the food that the people get who were supposed to be in there because they're sick and healing, and the food that they're given as well. woo, but there's a lot of changes that need to happen. But you know, at least
I one time took my phone and took a little movie of a hospital snack bar, and then I took a little video of a gas station snack bar, and I put them on Twitter and said which is which, and you couldn't tell the difference between the two.
Oh, that
oh
hits home.
my
Wow.
gosh.
I
They
believe
kept the gas pumps out of it, so that, but
Yeah.
it,
How
but
crazy
it,
is
you really,
that?
it's the same food. Yeah.
Yes, and it's the same food that's pushed, to people watching TV and all of that, and yeah, we definitely just need to get back to taking care of ourselves first and really understanding what good food is, and it's
Yeah.
real,
it.
you know?
And I know my mom used to say, well, it's expensive, because, we would go buy healthy food, and she goes, well, when she would stay with me, she goes, well, it's very expensive, and pay now or pay later. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just that
So
easy.
true. And
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be expensive.
yeah.
If you get creative or you research this stuff,
Mhm.
it's very easy. I spend a lot less on food now than I used to when I didn't know any of this
Mhm.
stuff.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
feel so much better. And when you start eating this way, you don't
You don't
you
want
don't
it.
feel
Yeah,
the need to go out to restaurants nearly as
Mhm.
much too. And
yeah.
those I mean, especially in these economic times, you get cut out restaurants, you save a ton of money.
It doesn't taste good either. I mean, we'll come
No.
back and go like, oh, like it's more expensive, and then we'll come back and yeah, it was okay.
Yeah.
But I'm a pain in the ass to go to restaurants because I'm all, like the seed oils and it's fried
Yeah.
and
Yeah. And you have to tell the waiter, okay, now this is how you're going to cook that meal.
yeah.
And they don't want to hear that.
Is this organic? Is this
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so I want to touch on before we end, I want to touch on a couple other things. Because last time we talked, you were talking about doing some red light therapy and things. Are you still doing
Mhm.
that?
We still do that. We have helmets and panels that we put our residents under. Red light is a specific frequency of light that um, goes into your mitochondria, and basically the mitochondria is the sort of the power plant of your cell, and it basically energizes them. It gives them an energy source. Food is supposed to do that too, but this will work directly. We try to do it, especially with the helmet, at a frequency that can penetrate the skull and go in to the nerve cells and energize those too, and that promotes a lot of healing. So just the sun is very good for that. The sun gives off red light as well, but in addition, it helps to get that. And I can't tell you specifically what intervention fixes everyone, but I think they all feel better and a little more energized when they do the red light. It's just 20 minutes a day or so that we put them in
Yeah.
front of it.
But
That's funny that you mentioned that about the sunlight. I don't know if people realize how healing sunlight can be in that respect
Yeah.
as well.
Right. I mean, there's other frequencies. You got all the colors of the rainbow kind of thing in it, but it it's definitely got red light, and the other frequencies help as well. So, in fact, one of my big pet peeves is sunglasses, because all the residents want to wear sunglasses when they go outdoors, and having your eyes exposed to the sun. Obviously, you don't want to look directly at the sun, but just being outside with the sun. I mean, I'm almost 60, and I don't wear glasses yet. So
I don't. I threw my sunglasses away not long
yeah,
after COVID when I heard about that, and I think, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Have you heard this, Hal? That the by not wearing sunglasses, that your eyes actually communicate to the rest of your body to release what is it, melatonin in you to protect
melatonin.
you from being sunburned. So if you're
Yes,
going to
very much
block
so.
that, you're going to get sunburned because you're blocking
It's
that filter that's talking
Yeah,
about
it's melanin, I think,
melanin.
which is the pigment like in
Melanin,
African
thank you.
American people and stuff like that. Yeah, melatonin's the sleep hormone or whatever. But
I
yeah, it tells you to release the melanin. Yeah, I don't burn nearly as bad as I've heard. Also, cutting out seed oil helps that too. But
Ditto. Heard
yeah,
that too.
I find I can stay in the sun a lot more than I used to. The only time I wear sunglasses, I have a boat and going out on the water, the glare on the water is really intense. So I'll put on some there. And when I go snowboarding, same thing with the snow. But other than that, I don't wear sunglasses, and I really encourage my residents not to wear them either.
So when you tell them these things, do they believe you? Do they think, what? Because I'm sure that they're used to doing things a certain way, and do they understand and hear you with all these healing things that you present them with?
Well, increasingly, thanks to people like you that put me on podcasts, the people who come to my home come because they want this kind of stuff.
Oh,
But yeah, at first it was very challenging to explain to the families, like, here's what we're going to try.
yeah.
Especially, trying to explain a carnivore diet to someone who's never heard of it, and that their elderly mom's just going to eat meat, fish, and eggs is not an instant agreement kind of thing. So we do a lot more of the keto stuff, but we just explain, we're trying to take away sugar, we're trying to reduce carbs, we're trying to fuel your brain with ketones, that kind of thing. And a lot of them get on board. And then when they see the other residents, that their blood pressures are getting normal, their blood sugars are getting normal, their weight's decreasing or increasing in some cases, they start saying, okay, yeah, this looks like it works pretty well. We had a cook who saw us doing this. She started doing it. She lost 60 pounds and got
Wow.
off all her blood pressure and cholesterol medications.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, no, I was thrilled to hear her tell us that.
You've got
So I
you've seen a lot of wins, Hal. That's gotta
Yeah.
be, that's
Oh,
just gotta make you feel, if you've just helped one person through this, much less the amount of people that you've helped so far. And I think this is going to just keep on giving. And I feel like you're going to be teaching other people like you to step up and do these type of facilities and have kind of a parallel, type of, if you've got the one way for people that are just stuck in the old way, but you can help people build these parallel type of facilities.
well,
Mhm.
it's funny you should say that, because my nutritionist and I have started this online community too, to help people when they first get diagnosed. Because when you first get a dementia diagnosis, your first thought isn't, I need to move into assisted living, right? So I can't help that. They want to stay at home, they want to live at home as long as they can. So we started this community to help people do just that, and let's help you change your lifestyle and see if you can fight and reverse this thing and never move into an assisted living home. And that's called thriveatyourhome.com.
Oh,
So we
Oh, that's right. Yes,
so it
thrive
would
at
be
your
great.
home.
Yeah, so if people want to join that, you can click on that website and have a free consultation call with me and my um, health coach that is really good with all the food stuff. So that's another avenue. I want people to heal. I want to try to get, whether they do it in my home or they do it on their own. I saw a horrible stat that in most states of the United States these days, healthcare is the #1 industry, and that's
yep,
Yeah.
it is.
completely what should be one of the lowest running
Yes.
industries.
Oh
If we're
gosh.
all healthy, we don't need that. So um, we got a lot of work to do here.
Yes, we
Yeah.
do. And I love that we put the living in assisted living, and that's exactly what it should be. And this is your website, a paradiseforparents.com. And they just have wonderful time, wonderful activities, and it's just such a awesome blueprint, I believe, for the future, that other people should be doing, um, as well. And tell me the back to the name of the other website you said about.
Thrive at
Yeah,
your home.
it's thriveatyourhome.com.
Okay, um, I'm just typing it in here.
I love hearing that because it is very true. People just don't want to leave their home.
Right. So
They don't.
let's help them do that. And this is a community, so you have lots of people who are all trying to help each other. And hey, let's try, hey, I heard about this new supplement. Fine, why don't you try it and let us know how that goes, right?
Right.
So we can get real world results, or different perspectives, and all kinds of people. And we bring a bunch of experts in to have questions and answer sessions and things like that for people. So we want to support you to fix yourself at home, just like that couple from Tennessee that called me and said that they'd reversed the wife's Alzheimer's. They did it on their own, the two of them, just researching stuff. So we want to provide an easy, convenient place for people to do it and research. That gentleman prayed to God, like King Hezekiah in the Bible, to give him 15 more years, and God granted his wish. So it's an amazing story. They haven't hit the 15-year point, but they're well on their way. So
wow, what a beautiful message of hope.
Really a beautiful message of hope, but it's thriveatyourhome.com. Hair Therapy, our moderator, will be putting this all in the chat, and she puts all these links in the comments as well that will be there forever, so that people can go back when they go back and watch this. All of the information will be there. So this is a fantastic resource as well. It really so wonderful. This is, there has to be people who are in the forefront of this, and in areas, all areas, and you're one of them, Hal. And I can't thank you enough for you doing this for those folks, and having a beacon of light for them, and for us, hopefully, to share with other people. Tell us any last thoughts you want to share too. Go ahead, Tricia.
I was just going to say that just thinking that I just heard about Hal on the View podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And we've kind of been teased about this might be the cause of Alzheimer's. This might be, and it just seems like everything is like we're chasing our tails. But when I learned about Hal, I just feel like how hopeful this is, and how much more we're going to get to learn, like even a year from now. And if Hal is already seeing success, think about it wasn't just a year ago that we were terrified of getting this and thinking that odds are this is the way we're going to go out, and we're seeing our loved ones before us going out that way, and we're like, oh gosh, you're just sort of feel like you're doomed. And this has been I'm not saying a quick turnaround, but this has been very, very happy, hopeful message, and just something that to continue to explore. I just can't believe that, not that I can't believe we're having this success. I'm so excited and pleased at what you've been able to do in the different things that people can take on their own. This isn't like I have to go spend a whole lot of money to go buy this protocol, or to go to this particular doctor. These are just everyday things that you can start making changes. You don't have to do all 200 changes of the factors, right? But you look at your life and where you can make improvements, and you're more empowered. Your family can be empowered and involved, and it's not a nagging. It's more of a, it's not even like
encouragement.
You don't get worse.
Yes.
You can actually get better. Not that we're trying to slow it down, but you can actually get better.
And you can prevent it.
And prevent it. Yeah.
You never have to feel it.
We don't have to do it after we're diagnosed. If we do this now, it's preventive.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. And before, Hal, I wanted to hear your last thoughts and everything. But to your point, Tricia, we've been so programmed to think that my mom had dementia, so I'm going to have dementia. My mom had cancer, so I'm going to have cancer. Oh my gosh, that it's out of your hands, that it's all out of your hand. And it really isn't. It's not. It's in your hands. If you can just pay attention and do your body good and do yourself good. And, we keep talking, and how you were talking about energy, and this gives them energy. This gives them energy. That's because we're energetic beings. That's why we have to sleep at night to recharge our batteries, because we are energetic beings, and that's what it is all about. So I just want last thoughts from you, Hal, about this, all of this.
Well, I'd love to piggyback off Tricia's remarks that people go to their doctors and get this diagnosis, and we joke that we call it diagnose and adios. Like, yep, you have Alzheimer's. Good luck.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
And it's where you want to go from there. Are you going to just accept that and then fill out the paperwork and check into an assisted living facility? I would just say, even if you're going to lose the battle, and we're all going to lose the battle, go
Right?
down swinging, fight this as hard as you can, because miracles do happen. I've seen them personally happen, and a lot of it is just you want to do it. And I don't want to get too religious on here, but one of the biggest reasons I see people recover is because they have a really good relationship with their creator, and include prayer. Like you said, Ellen, people are like, I get this diagnosis, it's out of my hands. Well, ultimately it is out of your hands. It's God's will, but doesn't mean you can't ask him for help, right? And when people do that, they see amazing things happen. And so in addition to doing all this stuff that you do on your own, fixing your diet, exercising more, getting out in the sun, sleeping better, all of that, ask for a little help from above, because
Yeah.
we all need it. Even
Well,
if you don't have Alzheimer's, you still
he's,
need
Yes.
it.
he's provided these things for us. We just got away from it.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
we're just getting back to what God has
It's-
left for us. And
It's a partnership.
It
Yeah.
is. I mean, God is giving us everything. God has
Yes.
given us the nature. God has given us the water.
Sun.
He's given us the food. He's given us the sun. He's
Apricot
given us
seeds.
Most of the treatments I do come from the earth, right?
yes.
The sun,
Yes.
or the sun. There are,
Yes.
food, natural exercise, but God gave you an incredibly beautiful body to, that if you take care of, is going to do amazing things for you.
Yeah.
And you don't need to have some PhD in pharmacology to fix this. You just need the
Right.
will.
That's the key. My goodness, you do, and we're figuring all this out, and thanks to people like you who are going back to what's really matters, and what God wants us to get back to, everything He's left us here, and then His
Yes.
guidance, and I mean, it's all so beautiful when you really look at it. And Hal, thank you so much for being here, for what you're doing, and you're just a blueprint for hopefully other people will pick up what you're doing and do this themselves. And it's a paradiseforparents.com, and all the links will be in the comments. So thank you for all you do, and
Thank you.
continue to do. And thanks for being with us tonight. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate you having me on.
Come back for an update in the future, okay?
I would love to. Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Definitely.
Have a
Thank
good
you,
night.
Hal.
Thanks to
You
everybody
too.
for being here. All right, bye-bye.